Ayo, this is directly after the last recording, like I said it would be. And yeah, we left off on Rimuru going down by the river and testing his limits on firebending. Now he notices that this fire doesn't burn him in the slightest unless it starts catching on fire of something else. Say he catches a stick on fire and he touches himself with the stick. The fire won't hurt him, but the heat from the stick will. So he has a natural immunity to his own flames, is what I'm getting at. Also, he'll notice that compared to a normal flame, his burns hotter and longer. It also has a slight resistance to water, which is its natural counterpart. He doodles with it a little bit, and he figures out how to turn off or dim down the flame, which makes them red, like a normal firebender's. So he's now gained the knowledge to tinker with the color of the flame slightly. Like, they're still hot, but they're not hotter. If he can increase the temperature. So, yeah. He learns how to do that, and for the next day or two, he practices with it. So, yes. And then here comes the day of Firelord Ozai's arrival to give his serious apologies to the death of the general in command, which he would normally not do. But since this was the person that did accomplish the breaking through the gates of Ba Sing Se that even Iroh didn't do, he would have done it, he just gave up. So he had to give him the sincerest apologies, since he was a married man and a father and a past soldier. So realistically, he shouldn't even have been drafted. He was just drafted because of his well-trained war experience. So Iroh shows up with, because Zuko wasn't cast out until teenage years when he was burned. So Zuko and Azula. They arrive at the Tempest residence, and they walk up and bowing for the Fire Lord. The Fire Lord gets down, sits with them, has a small drink, and has a chat with Yoko, who hasn't shown any disregard towards them in the slightest. She's trying to be welcoming in front of the Fire Lord. And he says, and Fire Lord just, kind of nudges Zuko and Azula to go outside and go just tell him to shoo outside and then Yoko says the same. She can do Rimuru to go with them. Rimuru walks out with them, still a bit sad about, the death of his father. He walks out with them, and Azula gets some snarky comments that are like, so, what's a general from a backwash town like this having our father come out anyway? Now, Zuko, on the other hand, slightly like, Azula, you can't speak like that. Father brought us here for a reason. Azula says, well, it's true. You're thinking it as well. After all, his son can't even firebend. Can you? Azula raises her hand towards Rimuru slightly, and then, opens it and says, just joking. Apologies for your father's death, I guess. Zuko looks at her, slightly like, why though? Why you gotta do him like that? Rimuru says, thank you for your apology. What was it? What it would be? Princess Azula? Yeah, because it's Prince Zuko. She says, not a problem. After all that general did do his job, I guess. Although I think I could have done it better. Because Azula's always been cocky and a bit of an ass, I'm not gonna lie. So Azula, makes this snarky comment, and that low-key pisses Rimuru off. He's not happy about anything Bro just said. He's low-key pissed. And Rimuru snaps back. Well, if my dad could do that much from a backwash town, I still wonder what he could have done from your father's seat. Now, Zuko, Azula, they're both kind of like, I'm sorry, do you think you can address us like that? Or or use my father's name in that manner? Like, they're low-key, like, the fuck does this kid think he is? I don't give a fuck if his father was a war hero. He can't, he's addressing the Fire Lord as if he can. So Azula look kind of mad and starts pulling out her status card, and she says, "Fine, if you think you think people from backwash towns can perform as well as royals in the royal state, let's see." She says, pulls Zuko to the side and says, like whispers in his ear. And then Zuko walks up to Rimuru slightly like, I don't want to, but she's not wrong, and says, I challenge you to an Agni Kai. Rimuru looks at him like, alrighty then, First Prince. I solemnly request that you do not hold anything that happens in this fight against me. Zuko, being a well-mannered, or well-trained to be well-mannered prince, agrees, and that this fight will be kept completely off the record. Nobody will hear about it. Azul, on the other hand, has no intention of keeping hush-hush about this. She's going to completely humiliate him and probably get him killed if she tells her father that he disrespected him. Yeah. So the Agni Kai begins, and Zuko starts out with an immediate burst of flames, but Rimuru, being trained in firebending, knows how to extinguish it. He swipes to the right, trying to remove as much oxygen as possible, keeping his hand out of the fire for long periods of time. Truck closes the distance with Zuko. He moves in. Zuko attempts to bend fire under his feet, but Rimuru, instead of going for a kick under the legs, stops with as much traction as he can possibly do, and he fucking elbows Zuko in the jaw. Like, full force. He proceeds, as he's midair, to move as fast as he can to the side before Zuko gets to the ground and punt him into a tree. Now, mind you, Reamer has been training physically and in this course of firebending for 5 straight years without missing a day. That, and he's been trained physically working in the fields and yeah. So he's most of his days spent working and training. And even then, he still got the experience from a fucking Fire Lord, Fire Nation general. So not much, unless Ozai taught himself and taught his kids themselves, nobody would really know much. They wouldn't really know more than him when it comes to firebending. Rimuru then says, do you yield? Zuko looks at him like, the fuck? No, I do not yield. Zuko then start fucking trying to heat up his flames, remember, Zuko was not a good firebender when he was young. He was kind of mediocre at best, because he commonly failed at his practices, and Zuko was always treated as the golden child. So, before Zuko says anything, Azula steps in. He yields, but I would request my own Agni Kai. Zuko looking like, why though? I wasn't gonna lose. Azula says, quiet now. Allow me this chance, brother. Azula readies herself for the fight. ready to fucking burn him, like, kill him. And Rimuru knows that this is someone far more skilled than Zuko was just now. So he readies himself, prepared to use firebending, or at least his, to counter her, as far as he knows, red flames. So he prepares himself, and off rip, Azula shoots a fucking blue burst of flames at him, and this catches him off guard, because he didn't know anybody else had different colored flames. I might have said it differently in the past, but I'm pulling that back. Recoil, baby. So, being startled, he thinks that maybe red flames wouldn't be enough to hold it off. So he kicks it up to black, and he spin kicks with firebending the shot away with black flames. And now there's a circle of black flame fire around him. He's looking through it like, he's looking through this like, it's a badass shot. And Azula's like, She low-key flustered. Like, her face just turned red like, the hell is happening? He walks through the black fire, which shouldn't be able to do, and hit like a bit of his clothes are burned, but his skin's perfectly fine. And he preps his hands like he would for a normal Agni Kai and says, prepare yourself, as he shoots one straight line of black fire at Azula. She tries to block it with her blue flame with a similar blast, but it's slightly overpowered, and she's pushed back. And now Reamer has his fist ready to firebend at her face and says, do you yield? She yields. Low-key mad, but interested. Yes, so after that, Rimuru says, anyway, I apologize for if I may have offended any of you. If I may have offended you or your brother, I was a bit flustered. He says, if my mother or Fire Lord Ozai asks where I am, tell them I left to train myself. And he goes back to his spot by the river. Now Zuko and Azula are low-key like, who the hell is this kid? They're the same age, and Azula's a prodigy. She's been known as a prodigy her entire life. And she just lost, hands down, due to pure fucking strength of flame. This kind of like interested her, but made her mad at the same time. She couldn't pinpoint what she was feeling. Anyway, this happens, and Ozai doesn't ever actually hear about the Agni Kai. Let's say another year passes. He trains harder. Another year passes, so he's around 13, and he enrolls in the military academy. Having not much formal training, and just now being considered a late bloomer for a firebender. But with his father's high military standing, he's given the title captain of a platoon. And not for a naval, he's stationed at an earthbender camp. He's hostile towards earthbenders, so he doesn't really, like his job. But yes. Rimuru makes it into the military academy, graduates with high rank in combat training, but poor rank in actual academics because he never trained. But that changes. Alright, no. Anyway, so yes. Now he's working as a soldier, 13, a lot younger than his peers, with the, usual Fire Nation soldier fit. Now, one day at work, on his patrol, he's ambushed by 3 earthbenders. Now, he's kept his black flames under wrap ever since the Azula incident. So he's never actually used them in combat for the last few years, but he's trained with them. So let's say that his flames are slightly overwhelmed and he's out of nowhere hit in the head by a boulder. Now this triggers Great Sage. And Great Sage says, Rimuru blacks out, Great Sage takes over. Now, Rimuru fucking full engulfs himself in black flames, moves with propulsion, and energy bends their bending away. And then he relinquishes his control and moves himself far enough away to where if they wake up, they won't attack him. And now Great Sage is active. And Rimuru will get eventually his memories back, if anybody's wondering. Just not until Aang actually resurrects. Or, well, is released, I guess. But yes. Anyway, I'm now cutting it shorter than the first part, but I need sleep, not gonna lie. It's like 3 in the morning, 2, and I have to get up at 5:30. So, yeah. If you tuned in to watch, thank you. Glad you're still around. Anybody who's wondering where the hell I've been, chilling, going through some shit, getting ready for school finals again. But yeah, thanks for checking me out. Coming back if you're a long-time subscriber. It's been me, the dual-wielding demon. I've been thanking you, the Legion, and I'll see y'all next with a new video. Goodbye then.